AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
Chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon on a big recruiting weekend. Could Leonard Fournette be headed to the New Orleans Saints? We've got FPI predictions for LSU football in 2025, but you know where we are beginning today.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Nobody on. 10-6 LSU lead. Bottom of the ninth. 2 outs. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Tigers win. Tigers win. We'll see you later in the week for Super Regional play.
Chris Blair on the LSU Sports Radio Network. How it sounded when Anthony Ianson had a perfect ninth strikeout, ground-out strikeout to end it, and LSU rallies from down 5-1, the brink of what would have been the most embarrassing loss in the history of this program. If a 4 seed and the lowest RPI team in the field came into the box out of the loser's bracket to beat you twice as the number 1 team in the country, the number 6 national seed, yeah, that'd have been really bad. And thankfully, by and large, the efforts of 3 players brought LSU through. And that's where I'm going to start. Look, we're going to talk a ton of baseball throughout the show today. We're going to talk about an early look at West Virginia. We're going to go through this game and some of the decisions that Jay Johnson made, some that worked and some that didn't. We're going to get to all of that in this game, in this show today. But I'm going to start appropriately with 3 players that deserve their flowers. Because the reality is, at a program like LSU, when you've made 19 trips to Omaha, you've won 7 national championships, you don't count successes based on regular season wins, regular season championships, anything to do with the regular season. Everything associated with this program has to do with what you do in the postseason. We remember Warren Morris because he hit the most famous home run in the history of college baseball. Not many people remember what Warren Morris did throughout any of his seasons in Baton Rouge outside of that play. He's a very good player, by the way, became a big leaguer. But you are remembered for what you do in the postseason. Brad Cressy was an awesome LSU Tiger. We remember, by and large, 1 swing because it was the most important swing of his career. Devin Fontenot was a very good pitcher at LSU. We remember what he did heroically in a super regional against Florida State. Unfortunately, he ended in a loss, but his career was defined by that. Will Helmer's what he did last year at North Carolina, even in a loss. That will define his career. And playing third base for a day. But anyway, or an inning. The point is, you make your legacy in the postseason, and 3 guys took a giant step toward that. Let's start with Ethan Frey, because when LSU looked dead in the water, down 5-1 in the top of the 4th inning, Jared Jones gets a single, big weight off of his shoulder to lead off the inning. The crowd very appropriately applauded. It was a rousing cheer for Jared Jones. And you follow that up with a fielder's choice and a fly out. Ashton Larson walks, you draw another walk to load the bases, and here comes Ethan Frey. Curiel walked. Here comes Ethan Frey with the bases loaded, and he rips a 2-out double into the gap to clear the bases. It's 5-4, and all of a sudden you have life. Because at 5-1, you felt dead in the water. And that hit, that double was just a part of a 4-for-4 night where Ethan Frey reached base all 6 times. When you had to have it, win or go home, when you looked dead in the water, that dude showed up in a monster way. And here was Ethan Frey after the game on that bases clearing double.
Coach Johnson talks a lot about controlling your situation, not letting the moment get too big. So when you're actually able to do it, shows how much trust he has in you and just your ability to compete and play no matter what the situation is. And like Casan just said, we have the best fan base in the country, and playing every game at home is really an advantage, whether people want to admit it or not. But it's unbelievable.
It wasn't just Ethan Frey. It was also Luis Hernandez. This is how it sounded in the 5th inning, in the top of the 6th. LSU trailing by a run. And remember how that inning started. Stanfield was at the plate with a 3-0 count, and they come back to get the strikeout. You went from thinking you're about to get a leadoff walk to strikeout. Here comes Luis Hernandez.
The 0-1. High in the air, going back is Wilbanks. He's still going back to the track, to the wall. It's gone. We are tied. Luis Hernandez, home run number 8. 5-5, our score. Hey now.
He didn't just tie it in the 6th. He had another homer in the 8th to give you the 7-5 cushion. A senior player, a veteran player, an experienced player. The moment was not too big for him. The catching position was a gigantic question mark at the beginning of this season. We forget about that, but in the first month, that was a big deal. Hernandez and Aaron Beatty platooning. Hernandez steadied you behind the plate, and once he became an everyday player, the bat has come along. He was awesome. Here was Jay Johnson on Frey and Hernandez.
The offensive performance by Ethan, that's arguably the best game I've ever seen any one of my players play, considering the situation. Luis, clutch. Absolutely clutch. Sometimes you look a player in the eye in the on-deck circle and you go, this is about to be good. And special night tonight. Great toughness, catching 4 games in a row. Really proud of him for that and maintaining, massive offensive production.
And then there's Casan Evans. We all look at Casan Evans, and the ability is undeniable. If we go back to the very first game of this season against Purdue-Fort Wayne, then when they played it on a Friday afternoon, the first guy out of the bullpen this year was Casan Evans. The very first guy out of the bullpen. And he is not disappointed. He has been at his best as a reliever this year. But Jay Johnson has made no qualms. Casan Evans' future at LSU is as a starting pitcher. And he probably has the inside track to be your Friday night guy next year. Now, there's a long way to go before then. Who you can add in the portal? Does William Schmidt develop in the same way Cade Anderson did this year? There's a lot of what-ifs between now and then. But they gave him the ball 3 times when they were looking for a number 3 starter, and he was awesome against Tennessee. In the next 2 outings against Arkansas and A&M, he faltered. He didn't get through 4 innings in either of those. But on a night where Zach Cowan took the ball and didn't have his best stuff, Casan Evans came out of the bullpen, and you were down 3-1. You had the E4, the throw-in error on Dickinson, and then the single where the outfield, where Dickinson and Stanfield collided. Oh my God! That felt rock bottom, and it was 5-0 or 5-1. And what did Casan Evans do? He threw up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive zeros. He struck out 12. At one point, struck out 9 consecutive hitters. I saw the great Todd Politz on Twitter earlier today asking for help and context to see if anybody can remember any string better than that, because he's trying to find if that is actually a program postseason record, 9 consecutive strikeouts for Casan Evans when you had to have somebody come out and put a freaking choke. Take Little Rock and grab them by the throat and squeeze the hell out of them and say, this is over. It's done. No more of this. And Casan Evans got out his wheelbarrow and let him drag the ground. It was unbelievable to watch that. As fired up as he was, and it showed you, this is what it looks like when you're LSU and you're flat better than them. No disrespect to Little Rock. They played a hell of a weekend. They're a great story, and I think they're easy to cheer for, except when they're playing LSU. But you needed somebody to say, enough. Casan Evans took the ball, season high in pitches, got you into the 8th inning where Ianson took over and finish the thing off. Casan Evans was spectacular. Jay Johnson after the game.
This dude is a superstar, and you guys have been around a lot longer than I have, but there haven't been very many better performances on that pitcher's mound in championship games than what you just saw by Casan.
And because of the efforts, by and large, of those three guys, Ethan Frey, Luis Hernandez, Casan Evans, LSU is moving on for a home super regional this weekend against West Virginia. And this is an LSU team that is going to be favored heavily in the super regional. As a matter of fact, I checked the odds this morning. LSU is actually the favorite right now to win the national title. Remember, you can't win the national title if you don't get there. LSU right now plus 350 to win the national championship. Arkansas plus 400. Tennessee plus 500. They're next, effectively saying whoever comes out of that regional, that super regional in Fayetteville this weekend, they and LSU are effectively co-favorites to win the national championship this year. Tigers, all they have to do, win a home weekend. Nobody has beaten LSU in a home weekend this season. Nobody. Not Arkansas, not Tennessee, nobody. You've got Kate Anderson, Anthony Ianson queued up. Go win a home weekend, and you're back in Omaha for the 20th time in program history, vying for your second national title in 3 years. And in large part because of Frey, Hernandez, Evans. Lights out. Congrats to those guys, and congrats to the Tigers on the win. All right, we got a ton to get to. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. So you're watching the Tigers through this postseason run. If you're going to be at the box this weekend, watching at the sports bar, watching at your house, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. Buds and grilling, a perfect combo. Throwing meat on the grill this summer while you're having a pool day or watching the Tigers. Make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Okay, Shea Dixon's going to join us when we come back. Massive recruiting weekend this past weekend that we'll recap. I do want to get to more takeaways from the game itself. The lineup changes, the decision to start Zach Cowan, what happened in that grotesque bottom of the second inning, going to Anthony Ianson, what it means for this weekend. We're going to get to all of that throughout this day, and we're fired up to have you with us here as the Tigers continue playing baseball. Stick around, it's AFR.
After further review.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local. Weather is warm. It's a beautiful time to get out and enjoy a day in your outdoor space. By the pool, in the garden, playing backyard games, grilling, whatever it is. You want to enjoy your outdoor space? A great way to do that is to beautify it with Clegg's Nursery. Remember, bypass the big box store. Go to the garden center that's local, that's served Baton Rouge in our community for 60 years. It's Clegg's Nursery. They got everything you want, even floodlights and contractor bags and duct tape and things like that. They got you covered over at Clegg's Nursery. You need soil, bag, or bulk. You need mulch, bag, or bulk. They got you the largest selections of flowers and plants and trees and shrubs. You need all the stuff to keep the pests away, mosquitoes, ants. They got it all. So buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Yeah! And Tractor Song gets my juices flowing. Let's go. SunnyQuip.com. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. You even don't need a big tractor. What if you want a zero-turn mower? Go to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. SunnyQuip.com. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, good enough to jump aboard with us as he does every Tuesday, talk a little recruiting. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
Man, I'm fired up, energetic, ready to roll. Admittedly, Shea, you and I talked last week, and there were 12 official visits, and I'm like, man, they're probably going to pop a commit or two out of this weekend. It didn't happen. Should I be worried that they didn't land any commits this past weekend?
Well, if you're direct quoting me, I said if they end up signing to.
No, I'm not quoting. I'm not quoting you at all. No, I'm just saying normally you have a big recruiting weekend. Dudes get caught up in the excitement of being on campus and you pop one, right? No, you didn't say they would. I'm just curious if you thought maybe they should or could have it over the weekend.
When most of your double-digit visitors are top 100 players with 4 visits still to go in the NIL era, the days of popping to an out-of-state school is kind of slim, but doesn't mean you don't get them in the end or that every kid's caught up in NIL. But I wasn't surprised at all. Most of these kids have, if not the lower, 90% of them have maybe at least 2 to 3 more visits coming. Some have a full slate of 5 before the month of June ends and then the dead period begins. Really only one of them at the high school level. Bo Bentley is down to 2 teams and is only making 2 visits. So he had LSU this past weekend and OU this coming weekend, and we've talked about him a good amount before, but the clip notes would be that after they didn't sign a high school quarterback, when Bryce Underwood flips in the 11th hour with Larry Ellis in Michigan, big payday, drama that unfolded into November, December, that would open the door for them to get in on a high-profile quarterback this cycle. And Bentley's just that, coming out of Texas as one of On3's top 5 quarterbacks and the only one who's not committed anywhere. So LSU visit in the books. OU up this weekend.
All right, how did it go with Bentley in Baton Rouge?
Nobody has a bad official visit, so
True.
I don't want to, rant and rave on that. But look, I'll say this. When he came in March, and we've talked about this, Matt, that visit really pushed LSU up alongside Oklahoma. And this is a kid growing up in an area of Texas where there's a lot of OU fans. He says, hey, look, I grew up, I'm not rooting for the Sooners, pulling for whatever it might be as a kid. Now I'm a recruit and I'm looking at all schools, but Oklahoma has prioritized him as well. So you know that you're up against a school that's kind of had that connection to him, but at the same time, it's not, I don't mean business decision in college NIL sense. I mean long-term future, college playing time, all of that is getting weighed out here by the Bentley family. And look, the wide receivers that have come through here and continue to come through here, it's so hard, as I always say, for you and I to wrap our heads around this, but guys like Bo Bentley, who are 17, 18, they've watched football, as a recruit for 4 or 5 years, and they consider LSU to be a quarterback factory when we would think of the Lincoln Riley OU days, right, of all those guys coming through and winning Heismans, and he's off to USC now, obviously. So a bit of a shift there in terms of which school can actually pitch the quarterback angle a bit better. In fact, think about it. LSU, Oklahoma's leading receiver the past 2 seasons are both on LSU's roster right now. So a very different switch up for them. I think LSU's in a good spot, and we'll see what happens. But again, that visit in March came with just his dad. This one was dad, mom, girlfriend, brothers. Everybody that kind of is around him and his family, and part of the process was there, which lets you know they're taking this pretty seriously.
The other real big-time recruit on campus, there were plenty, Shea, but that we talked about a week ago was Emmanuel Iheanacho, one of the top players in the country, the offensive lineman. Give us the update or whatever you can tell us about this past weekend with Iheanacho's visit.
Yeah, he is a 5-star number 2 player in the country, and the only player ahead of him is another offensive tackle. So that one is committed in Jackson Cantwell to Miami, which a lot of people thought, hey, look, if Oregon got Cantwell or, things would have gone a little bit differently. Maybe Iheanacho doesn't look at Oregon as strongly, Oregon doesn't go as hard after Iheanacho, and they've still got an official visit to come. But this was one where LSU came from almost like completely out of the top 5-6 range, or they were, I would say, about 3 months ago, to getting him to campus, to recruiting him heavily, to going and sitting down with him during the eval period. And now they got his official visit to kick off the month of June. He gave really rave reviews about kind of how the trip went, seeing everything, getting to meet with, Brad Davis, Brian Kelly, who's obviously got an O-line, pretty impressive resume in terms of what he's had developed under, teams coached by him at multiple schools. So I think that LSU was already one of the team that was kind of surging up there, like who could catch Oregon. And this past weekend, I think, in the words of Steve Wilfong as well, who has a good pulse on the national side here, as well as Chad Simmons on 3, they both said, hey, look, LSU can make a very good case that they're in the top 3, if not top 2, but he still has this Oregon visit to come. So we'll see how it unfolds. And this kid's out of the D.C. area, so it's, either school would be further away from home than, something local.
Shea, one quick follow-up on Iheanacho. When you look at the fact that you've got with Tyree Adams and Weston Davis, which I presume will be LSU starters, both returning likely for 2026, does that impact a guy like Iheanacho, just the ability to get on the field as a freshman?
I don't think so, because for all we know, one of those guys not even in the year as a starter at LSU. I have no idea. We haven't seen him play yet. So it feels a little different than when Emory and Will Campbell came in, and it was like, okay, if you make this decision, they're probably staying there for 3 years. And both of them did. And along the way, Weston Davis, a 5-star, committed to him. Tyree Adams, a top 100 player, committed to him. They had no trouble getting offensive tackles in here. So, I think they're looking for those next guys up, or guys that can come in and compete right away. And there is no doubt that if you were to pick a handful of guys in the country that could do that next year on a college team, Iheanacho is very firmly in that mix. And let's not forget, LSU just had the highest drafted O-lineman they've ever had in the program's history, which is crazy to think about. But Will Campbell going in the top 5.
He's Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Get him at Shea Dixon. Okay, the other side of it, Shea, that a lot of people here locally are maybe freaking out about a little bit. I use that term lightly. But Kenny Darby, one of the top players in the state of Louisiana, an LSU commit, took a visit to Alabama this past weekend. Any reason to be concerned about it?
I didn't even know which recruit you were going to name when you start saying freaking out, which is the low way to put what happens on message boards right now. But look, Kenny Darby and Tristan Keys, 2 of their 3 receiver commits, the other being Jabari Mack out of Destrehan, who has been solid. Destrehan has been great to LSU, so you kind of don't worry about that one as much. But you look at a kid out of Airline, North Louisiana, and then you look at a guy like Tristan Keys. He's the number 1 receiver in the country. You know that people are going to be courting him, and Bama had been on Kenny Darby, and he came up with a late visit and said, hey, I'm going to go this weekend, and then said that he's going to have this July 4th announcement to kind of finalize things. But I had kind of picked up from talking to those around him that he was already going to do something on July 4th, kind of just celebrating the day and announcing, and that's when the dead period is, so all the kids are kind of putting an end to the recruitments. But, look, he's commented that he's solid and shut it down, and now he's making a visit, but that's the nature of recruiting. I don't think he's going to flip. I think he ends up signing. He'll visit June 20th for his OV, and that'll be the same weekend Jabari Mack's there and the same weekend Tristan Keys is there, who all 3 of those guys were on campus a week ago for unofficial visit as the 3 commits, just kind of hanging out together, getting to know each other. This is arguably, and they could add another, but the best wide receiver class out there if they can hold it together. Keys was at Miami, and he'll make a slew of visits, end it with LSU, and all of those were planned before he even committed to LSU, and he had said all along that he was going to make them. So I think the good news, Matt, is you don't come out of the weekend with any of those guys flipped, right? Like, it's business as usual. Keep moving forward.
Lamar Brown's another one, Shea, an uncommitted prospect who we've talked about a ton. And
I thought that was your panic guy right there. You tricked me.
I don't know, man. Who knows what qualifies or classifies? But Shea, with me, especially after Underwood, until we get to signing day and the ink is dry, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt, and you get the best info you can and you proceed. But you could always have a billionaire just come drop a bag on somebody and it flips the whole thing on its head. So you do the best you can. Okay, Lamar Brown was down at Miami. Seemed like it went well. What can you tell us?
Yeah, he had come out from the visit and gave some quotes, at least on 3. And I'm sure they're pretty similar wherever, but that Miami is firmly in this, that they've done maybe the best job of recruiting him here lately. And look, I think Lamar, we joked about this. He's the number 1 athlete in the country at whatever he is. What is it? About 4 or 5, 2, maybe taller, 280 something pounds. Can play O-line, D-line. Any college coach would let him on either side of the ball, and he's having fun. Look, and if you think that he's going to ultimately end up at LSU, well, he goes to U High, which is on LSU's campus. So when he goes out to these other colleges, you're not going to not have fun. And I think he's also trying to. Does he have interest in these schools? Yeah, sure. But I also think he enjoys the process of it, keeps everyone guessing, even if it's not LSU, that he's kind of high on all of these teams as he goes through the process. But it wasn't long ago that he had named LSU as leader, and he had said similar things on A&M, but we know they've always been in the mix. And he's going to make this Texas visit, which was added late in the process. So everyone's going to be fighting over him. He's a 5-star and one of the best players in the country. I still think that LSU gets him, Matt. I do. I think this is an LSU A&M battle, and sure, if we put the asterisk on it that, anybody this day and age can come in with a massive amount of money in the NIL era. And look, that's one thing right now until this House settlement is pushed through. It's still wild, wild west out here. There is no sense of having to think, hey, look, this is what we have to do, by the rule of the law, letter of the law, to balance out our roster. And, you toss around numbers, and I'm not going to get too deep into confusing everyone here, but if you toss some number at a prospect, and what if that's 15% of your roster budget or something like that? Like, you wouldn't ever do that, but you would right now before the House settlement. So I think it's kind of a weird time for every one of these schools. And that's what a lot of coaches talked about down in Destin at the SEC coaches conference, clinic, whatever they call it these days, but meetings where, hey, look, the quicker this House settlement gets done, the better, because until then, we are still in this wild, wild west feel, when I kind of get the sense that a lot of people just think, oh, well, that'll get done any day now. And certainly it's not like it was back in November when Larry Ellison comes out of nowhere and steals your 5-star quarterback. No, it is still like that right now.
Yeah, I think the expectation, Shea, is that the House settlement would have already happened by now, but it continues to push forward. So until it is settled, it'll still have a lot of there will be a lot of qualifications and complications, but at least it will add some structure moving forward to whatever that may look like. But in any event, you want to follow all of it on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Get him there. Good enough to join us every Tuesday here on AFR. Thanks, Shady. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, bud. Be well. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. You want to beautify your home, interior or exterior, they can help. We talk all the time about the hardy plank and vinyl siding that they offer. It won't rot or peel or crack or chip. It comes finished in whatever color you want, and then you're done. Like, you'll never have to paint that ever again. It's also going to make your home more energy efficient. And, by the way, also, it's fire resistant. So you can make your home safer as well. You can learn about all the great products they have at ReliefWindows.com. Yes, windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding, shutters. They do it all. They do it better than anyone. Listen, if you want to go get a bunch of quotes to see who's going to give you the lowest price, I'll just tell you straight up. Don't even call. They will never be the cheapest. You will find someone who will sell you a cheaper product and cheaper labor because they're not Relief Windows. But if you want the best quality product, the best customer service experience, an install done right, service after the sale, a true service department, and a lifetime transferable warranty, you want Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. Okay, it's after further review. We'll go around the SEC as we continue. Will Helmers will be here in an hour. Look forward to talking to Will in the smidge. Also, I'm going to circle back to the game itself with LSU and Little Rock. Some of the changes that Jay Johnson implemented. Some worked, some didn't. So what sticks around? What do they revert to? We'll dive into all that as we continue. We'll go around the SEC next.
After further review.
Brought to you by the Watermark in the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Tell you all the time about Renaissance. And, of course, it's a great place if you got family coming in from out of town. Renaissance Baton Rouge is right there on Bluebonnet. Bluebonnet near I-10. I mean, you've seen it. The beautiful sprawling hotel. 13,000 square feet of meeting space. They've got Tallulah in the lobby as well. The restaurant right there in the Renaissance, which is a great spot to have a cocktail or glass of wine after work. Or, remember, if you got an event coming up, I tell you all the time, call my friend Allison Crump over at Renaissance Baton Rouge. She's the event coordinator over there, and I love, she always says, we're in the business of saying yes. So they have so much square footage there, and so many different ways they can manipulate their space to fit whatever event you have. It's a boardroom meeting for a dozen people, a wedding reception. You need the grand ballroom for a fundraiser for 500 people. They can accommodate you at Renaissance Baton Rouge. So call them today. They're right there on Bluebonnet. Right there in Southtown. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I was thrilled to see LSU win. I think we could all agree disappointed seeing Little Rock lose. What a story they were. Again, not at the expense of LSU. I very much am glad they're going home. But that's a program that had never won a regional game ever. Had been to a regional once before. And then won their first, second, and third regional games ever. And tell you, man, AFR karma's real. Chris Curry showed up. He was awesome. He told the hold the rope story. We all love him. And guess what? They go on and push LSU to the brink. You know who slighted the show? At Dan Hefner from Dallas Baptist. They got their ass kicked and ran home. How about that?
That's true. That did happen.
We had Alden Cartwright here yesterday on the show, didn't we? Cartwright made a sacrifice to the baseball gods from 2014, and boy, it didn't look good to start.
No.
But the baseball gods smiled upon us. AFR karma's real. You're welcome. You're welcome. By the way, here was Chris Curry after the loss.
Heck of a run. It was a heck of a run. I'm very grateful. Just told the team in the locker room that every baseball game, at some point, they take the spikes from you and your season is over. And you never want that to happen. But if it's going to happen, you want it to happen in June, and you want it to happen on a postseason field. And we accomplished that. And it hurts right now because we don't like to lose, and we're competitors. But these men, they changed Little Rock baseball forever. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to coach them. And I'm proud. I'm proud of my guys.
An emotional Chris Curry after the loss, but he's right. That team changed Little Rock baseball forever. And a lot of times, these mid-major programs, they get put on the map with postseason runs like this. I mean, we know of Stony Brook, albeit a curse word around here, because of 2012. That's 13 years ago, man. And people know Stony Brook. Last night, if you were watching that game, they showed a graphic of regional 4 seeds to advance to the College World Series. And one of them, I guess it was to advance to Super Regional. One of them was Stony Brook in 2012, which, of course, came into Baton Rouge, won, advanced to the College World Series. So, Fresno State in 2008, man, you make a name for yourself on this stage. And I think Little Rock did. And by the way, whoever runs that Little Rock Twitter account, what are you laughing at?
They were awesome. That's what I'm laughing at. They entertained me a lot this week.
So I didn't follow them. They followed me after we had Curry on. Chris Curry and the Little Rock account followed me. And during the game, I tweeted about the center fielder. His name's Henry.
Zach Henry, yeah.
And I tweeted, hey, man, center fielder saved 2 runs tonight, robbed an extra base hit, Stanfield in the second, Milam in the fourth. And they come back in my mentions. Say his name. And I wanted to reply. I didn't reply because I wanted to reply. I would if I knew it, but I ain't looking it up. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to be disrespectful to the young guy, but heck of a job.
That's so good. I love that. They were spicy, man. That Twitter account was spicy all week.
That wasn't the only time. I mean, early in the game, this would have been in, hang on. This would have been, it was in second. The blow-up second. I tweet, we really going to go walk hit by pitch before Cano? And they jump up and go, we approve.
That's so good.
In my mentions. So I hit him with the simmer down now. Yeah. Simmer down now. Hey, simmer down now. Because at this point, it's a 1-0 game. LSU's leading, feeling good. Not so good whenever they started coming after me about the center fielder, because I think that was in the fourth. That was Milam's laser in the fourth that got caught. With, by the way, Ethan Frey on second base that would have tied the game. It was a big play by that center fielder. Who someone did look at. I think he's a grad student, so he's out of eligibility. So that's good. So don't worry about him transferring. Besides, I think you're going to have a pretty good center fielder next year anyway. All right. It's after further review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. No matter your age or refractive issue, I say it all the time. Like, I had LASIK 7 years ago. Tell you all the time about Hester, right? Hester had LASIK when he was playing. A couple of years ago, I had PRK. Jimmy Ott, laughed at him. We'd go eat at SEC Media Days, and he'd take us to a French restaurant. He and I would go to some Bistro Nico. He'd order the coq au vin, whatever. Otter, it's all in French. You order. I don't know what I'm looking at. And like he's sitting there with his flashlight on his phone, glasses on the end of his nose because he can't see the menu. Don't have to do that anymore. He had the custom lens replacement. So no matter your age or refractive issue, you want to ditch contacts and glasses forever, you can do it. The Williamson Eye Center can help. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Florida landed a commitment from 2026 offensive lineman Geneva Carr, 6'4", 336-pound offensive lineman out of IMG Academy in Bradenton. He is the third commit for Florida's 2026 class. Picked the Gators over Tennessee, Georgia, Colorado, about 35 offers. He's the 60th best interior offensive lineman in the country.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia legacy, Carter Lucky, has committed to Georgia. He's a three-star defensive lineman, picked Georgia over Florida State and Ohio State. 6'5", 265. His brother Lawson signed with Georgia a couple of cycles ago. They also added their first 2027 commitment. Gavin Honore, a wide receiver, has committed, three-star, 5'10", 170, the number 442 player in the country, the 54th best player in California, also runs track and field.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
He doesn't run track and field. He runs track. He's on the track and field team. But he doesn't run field. He runs track. Ole Miss has flipped defensive lineman Carmelo Reed from Wisconsin, 6'6", 250. So now he picked the Rebs over 16 other offers. Ole Miss has 8 players committed for 2026.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Offensive tackle Bryce Gilmore has committed to Arkansas, and Sam Pittman. He's for the 2026 class. 6'5", 294. He's a 4-star prospect, number 186 overall, the 15th best offensive tackle in the class. He's headed to Arkansas.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And wide receiver Davis McCray out of San Antonio has committed to Kentucky. Chose the Wildcats over perennial powers like Houston, Columbia, and Washington State. Stay hot, Mark Stoops. 6'2", 190, the nation's number 121 wide receiver, second commit for 2026. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. Tuesday shows powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, thanks. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you for being there. Watching on WBTR, we appreciate you. If you're listening in Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, or anywhere, big shout out. We're just thrilled to have you aboard today on this show. Okay, we'll knock out a quick break, come back, wrap up hour number 1. Nate Yeski talked about Casan Evans, Anthony Irons, and the job that they did. We'll delve into all that, and I do want to dive into my takeaways from the game between LSU and Little Rock as the Tigers are moving on to Super Regional action against West Virginia. It's AFR.
AFR.
You do have baseball tonight in Baton Rouge. That's right. Rougarou and the Baton Rouge Rougarou have opening night tonight over at Pete Goolsbee Field, and it is free admission for everyone thanks to Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Of course, you can go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, getgordon.com. If you want more information about the Rougarou, the schedule, all that stuff, brrougarou.com. But 7 o'clock, first pitch tonight out at Pete Goolsbee Field. And again, free admission for everyone because Gordon's picking up the tab for everyone to go watch some baseball tonight. So if you're looking for something to do with the kids out of school and they're driving you crazy, you can get on out to Goolsbee tonight thanks to Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, and it's a totally free admission event tonight because Gordon's picking up the tab for everyone. I think Gordon's actually going to be coaching first base too. So get out there and give well, he was out there last year, and my guy was out. I mean, he was full on. Look, he had on baseball pants, stirrups, spikes, the whole deal, man. So you know what to do. Get Gordon. Get it done.
to Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I'll make a little run. 2 outs, bases loaded. The 1-2, swing and a miss. Struck him out. Casan Evans gets it done when they needed it most. An even dozen strikeouts for the Tiger reliever.
Yeah. Letting Evans pitch after he walked the bases loaded was not a great feeling. But worked out. Casan. Lewis. That's where we're going, Muse. We're heading to Omaha.
2 more wins. 2 more wins.
Having way too much fun with this AI song maker.
I see that.
Jay Johnson leading us on the road to victory. We're the best of the best. No one as cold as me. Bring on West Virginia for the Super Regionals at Alex Box, baby. There's nothing you can do to us.
Pretty good. Smack talking.
It's got a good point.
You know what in this 2.5 minute song or whatever it is?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. You know what they scream repeatedly for about 2.5 of the 3 minutes?
Omaha?
I headed to Omaha.
Headed to
Omaha. Yeah. I think this might be the part of the song, Muse, where all they do the rest of the song is just yell Omaha, headed to Omaha.
Okay.
I don't think we have any more verses.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, wait, let's hear it. What do you think he's going to say next?
The College World Series. Where is that? Where is the College World Series?
Huh. Let me think. I think I've heard of it before. Oh, no. They just yell the College World Series.
The rest of it. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Dang. I was really
We'll probably circle it back. You know.
Oh, that would have been the perfect
that
time.
Been a great time.
Yeah.
But we'll head to Omaha. I am having a lot of fun with these AI songs. Our Muse anthem is still my favorite, but
that's because that one was the best.
It was accurate as well.
Well, it wasn't accurate.
Appropriately,
it was just funny, and it was the best one. So
very appropriate. You don't have it over there, I know, right?
I do not have it over here.
I'm not surprised. Don't worry about it. I'll just.
Well, also, by the way, no.
Yeah.
Also, you played that one off your phone into the microphone.
Yeah,
that's why I don't have it.
I also sent it to you. So you do have it.
There it is.
Here we go.
They say it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
And after further review.
But I know a place is 420 all the time. It's right there in the studio with you. I guess that's what you get for having a name like Moose.
Like, what does that even mean?
I guess that's what you get for being a damn hippie.
And hey, I mean, what? Hippie?
I don't know. It's really good. I tell you what, I think we are tomorrow working out of time, but I think we're going to have Bradley Neffendorf on the show, who's the head coach of the LSU Shreveport Pilots, who did win the NAIA World Series, polished off a perfect 59-0 season. And if you did not hear the story today, they've been invited to the White House. So that is a phenomenal story. I mean, I'm going to have to alter one of the things I very consistently say, which is it's baseball. Everybody loses in baseball. Like the 27 Yankees lost 40 times. I mean, everybody loses in baseball at some point, unless you're LSU Shreveport and you go 59-0. I don't care what level of ball you're playing. You go 59-0 in baseball, a sport where LSU could be run-ruled by Northwestern State. It's incredible. So congrats to the LSUS Pilots on their national championship. Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, it represents the Shreveport area, has invited him up, set up the whole thing. So that'd be a really cool thing when it happens. We'll follow it. And I think we're going to have Coach Neffendorf on Wednesday. We're trying to work out a time, but we'll have him, if not tomorrow, certainly one day this week. Hey, we're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Heading toward the summer, maybe you got a wedding coming up. You've already popped the question. You're in the final planning stage. You need your wedding bands. You can buy your wedding band at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, his or hers. And remember, ladies or gents, tell the lady in your life, Lee Michaels has great Father's Day gifts as well. Right on the homepage, there's Father's Day gifts from David Yerman. You can click the tab right there. All different types of budgets, whatever you're looking to spend, they can help you out at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 9 locations in all, and online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Here comes SportsCenter. Get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, I do want to go through a little bit of game flow, some of the decisions Jay Johnson made, what worked, what didn't. That's next, AFR.
AFR.
We are officially into hurricane season now. The calendar has flipped to June. This is the time to start making considerations for your roof. Parish Construction and Roofing, we'd love to help. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Even if you're not ready for a roof replacement, there are certain precautions you could take by having a roof inspection to have it clean, your gutters clean. If there are loose shingles or things that we can help with, help fortify your roof now before the storm comes, let us help. Starts with that free, no obligation roofing inspection. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Yes, do residential, also commercial. No matter the size of your commercial building or what type of roof you have, we love to help. You know, right in Baton Rouge, the Industrialplex area with all those warehouses, you want to lower the temperature in those warehouses. Cool TPO product could help do that. Let us come take a look. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com.